Another one. Okay. So, this one is something that people really don't talk about. That gentle guilt of growing out of a role that you never asked for and that you didn't even know you were casted in. Being someone's protector. People never talk about the guilt that you feel when you can no longer protect somebody because of how it hurts you. And so I understand that this is heavy and that this isn't something that's taken lightheartedly because it's hard to leave people that we love and it's hard to just dismiss the people that we so often want to dive into. And it's uncomfortable to even think about putting ourselves in the position of walking away as someone who is a protector. It's hard for us to want to break that cycle. It's hard for us to just think it's okay to not be there for these people anymore. But at the same time, if it feels like protecting them is stabbing you in the heart, it's no longer fair to you and you do have to walk away no matter how uncomfortable it is. So today this one's going to be uncomfortable per usual and it's not going to be fun and it's probably going to hurt, but it's also probably something that you need to do and that you need to hear and that you need to accept. So just stay with me. So, we're going to start off and we're just going to talk about the protector role in itself and where it comes from. So, a lot of us were raised to be protectors. I was, and most of my friends and family were. Consciously or unconsciously, it's generational, especially if you live in a cultured family. Take care of your elders and take care of your youngers because no one else is going to do it for us. Or literally, if you don't take care of other people, then you're not even going to be able to survive because they force you to take care of them to survive. Or literally having to protect yourself and others because you had no other choice. That was the survival option, or else you were a goner, and so were they. I feel like a lot of people in our every I feel like a lot of people, including me, in our everyday functions are always trying to protect a friend, a sibling, a mother, a father, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, and just someone that in some way, shape, or form is connected to us. We're always trying to protect somebody from going through the things that we've been through because as a human, you have that empathy. You might not be an empath, but you're still feeling empathic. And there's two ways that people normally go. They either want to make people feel that same pain that they did, and trust me, you'll know who those people are, or they'll want to protect people from feeling that pain as much as they can. And sometimes this protection becomes people's identity. It becomes what they're supposed to do, what they need. And I love my father so much, but at one point that's exactly what happened to him because of me. I was put on this earth and all of a sudden the only thing my dad knew how to do was protect me and any other person that reminded him of me, which was a lot of people. And I know that for a while he lost himself, and recently, the last couple years or so, he's been finding himself again. But it just happens to people. You lose yourself in the short-term gratification that you get from protecting people, but at one point you have to realize that you don't have to protect them anymore. And it's hard to when, love gets confused with that responsibility. Just because you love somebody doesn't mean you have to protect them. Like, that's not the same thing. And I feel like it's always the thought of, well, if I don't do it, then who is? Well, they should be doing it for themselves or somebody else will step up. But obviously, if you feel like it's not your place anymore or it hurts you and that's your sign that it is not your place anymore, you need to walk away. Because this protection can, and for the most part does, turn into self betrayal. And not only does it make you hate yourself, but it makes you resent this person. And now you guys are starting a toxic cycle. So, the shift that nobody prepares you for is when you start to lose yourself and protecting everybody around you. because you're like, oh, well, A, B, C, D, and this like are all going through experiences that look really familiar to what I was going through. So I need to make sure that I'm there for them so they don't have to feel that same pain. If their journey is calling for them to feel that same pain, then let it be because you had to. So trust me, they'll be okay too. And you have to be able to walk away when protecting someone starts costing you energy and peace and self trust and your time. Some of us at one point notice it's no longer serving us and we can't even try to protect this person anymore because it's not our place. It As you grow, the way that you care for people and specific people in and out of your life will change. And you could care for them in one way and then it fades and then you can care for them like that again, but you can't get stuck in caring for everybody all the time. And so sometimes it's hard for us to even recognize when we've crossed that line. And so I've written down a few things that might help you recognize when you've crossed that line if you can't get yourself to a point of consciously accepting what's happening, but you still feel that hurt. If that line's been crossed and you're overprotecting somebody when you should really be overprotecting yourself and your soul in this moment, you're going to feel drained and you're not going to feel fulfilled. And you're going to be anxious when you should feel aligned if that's what you're supposed to be doing. And for some reason, you always feel like you should be explaining or justifying or fixing yourself, which is not that's not what someone who functions from peace should do. And so sometimes you have to think to yourself, I shouldn't be protecting this person because they could be using or abusing my protection and I don't get this reciprocated. And so if they're not going to reciprocate this back to me, then I need to fulfill myself. And I know it sucks to hear that because now you have to start dealing with the pain of being taken for granted. Even if someone doesn't realize it or not, it happens without it being a conscious action. It's just kind of a thing that, goes on in this world. The pain of feeling taken for granted gets minimized too much because it's like a grief. When you realize that someone doesn't appreciate you the way that you thought that they did, or you thought that would be the results of your actions towards them, it hurts like hell and no one talks about it enough. It's literally like the silent grief of realizing that your effort was not enough in this moment. And that feeling of not being enough is literally that thing that destroys humanity. The feeling of someone not being grateful for you and everything that you've done for them and being around, whether they are or not, or whether they can show it or not, is just in general a really heavy thing to carry. And like, you have to be able to acknowledge that for yourself and others, especially for people who have heavy trauma, because it hits them harder in ways that they can't even understand yet because there's so much extra bullshit on top of the general bullshit that they have to deal with. And so, because you've already learned how to become an overgiver to survive, you know, it's really easy in this grief mindset to start asking yourself, am I asking for too much? Or am I being dramatic? Or should I just try harder? You start to doubt your own worth just because you were trying to look out for somebody else. If you fail looking out for somebody else, that has nothing to do with your worth. You're not responsible for where they go in their own life, no matter what you've done. Choices are choices. And so once you've realized this, it's kind of hard to just walk away. And there's a reason why walking away feels so wrong, but it isn't. Walking away feels like failure when you're a protector, let's be honest. It feels like you're abandoning something even when it's literally just self-preservation. If you don't take yourself away and give yourself the space that you need, you're giving everything up. You're literally chipping away at who you are, and your most authentic self is slowly dimming and dimming until you become one with this other person's life. The people who feel like they are protectors have to give themselves the space to walk away. You have to protect yourself as much as you protect these other people. And the real danger of this is because if they don't walk away, they're going to start to plummet into this other person's life and they're no longer going to have themselves. And there's no larger fear for someone who genuinely craves peace than losing themselves. Losing your identity in somebody else's chaos is never worth it, unless that is just where you fully, truly feel called to, and that's where you feel happy, and that's where you find your peace. If that is that, then that's that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't live your life that way if that's where you feel happy, but don't trick yourself. Don't act like you as a person aren't chipping away at some points. Not everybody is like those people who can manage that. You know this. Just because you want to be like those people does not mean you are those people. You have to understand who you are at your core to be able to even comprehend how to walk away when you're a protector. Living for someone instead of as yourself is a survival tactic. And if you allow yourself to stay in the survival tactic, you will be swallowed by it. And all you will be, and I'm so sorry to say this, but is a victim of whatever the hell you've been through. You're not a survivor, because if you survived, then you would still be here, but you're no longer you. You're part of somebody else. And the people who know that, like, diving into somebody else, they like there are people who can dive into somebody else and still have their peace, but not everybody can. Know who you are and know your strength and know your boundaries to help you understand that. Living for others versus living your own life is the cost of over identifying with someone else's survival. You don't want to lose somebody so bad that you will sacrifice your own survival and your own personality and your own self to make sure that they stay afloat in this world. If you're living your life with somebody else or for somebody else, you're literally denying yourself your full potential. And I'm hoping that the right people don't mistake this, because I'm not saying to not like protect your significant other or your friends or your family. What I'm saying is don't overdo it. Overdoing it is the issue. I'm talking about the fine lines here, guys. That's why it's hard. That's why it's heavy. But when you deny yourself your full potential, you stop dreaming and you stop expanding and you stop believing that you're capable. Not because you aren't capable, but because you never gave yourself that space to find out. And you wonder why everything is so out of reach for you, is because you stopped reaching for it so you could reach for it for somebody else. And as a collective, this it's like it's everybody's responsibility. You see somebody else doing this for someone and you need to call them out. If they aren't going to react the right way, then remove them from their lives. The more people that they lose, the more lessons that they learn, and the sooner they will change, and then you can have them back. This isn't just like a personal thing, it's about everybody. We really need to, as collective and as humans, be able to give ourselves the space to protect ourselves so we can clearly protect other people without the sacrificing of our own authenticism. Authenticism. We are able to recognize it in ourselves. We are able to recognize it in each other. You just have to give yourself and them the room to show it and prove it. Otherwise, you are going to get into those cycles where people stay because they feel responsible for the other person, or people staying because they're scared to be alone for the rest of their life. Trust me, you're not going to die just because you're scared to be alone. You'll actually be just fine. If you genuinely want to be here, you will be just fine, because you'll realize that you're never actually alone. People stay here, people staying in situations because they think leaving makes them bad. If someone makes you feel like leaving them is a bad thing, then that's not someone who's protecting you. That energy is not reciprocated, and that's more of a reason why you should be walking away. Honesty, start using honesty as protection. Your truth is what will keep you safe. And it'll keep them safe too if they want to be on that same journey with you. If they don't want to be on that level, then they're not going to be, and you can't stay down there just for them. Honesty is not cruel, and silence is not kindness. It does not take a lot to say something at all. Honesty is really simple, and it protects a lot of people when you allow yourself to access truth, when you're not scared of it. Whether people listen or not is not the point here. The truth exists whether we acknowledge it or not. The truth will always be sitting there out in the open. And if you deny the truth, you'll stay in those cycles with these people that don't genuinely care for you. When instead you could flip from this point forward. No matter how deep you are into it, you can change your story. You can shrink yourself. Instead of shrinking yourself into other people, you can become everything that you thought you might be. And who cares if you think you might die in the process? If it kills you to be fucking great, then fucking die. Like, we're never gonna get anywhere if we allow so many people to get away with so much shit. So denying yourself the truth changes your story into theirs and just lets them run with a false narrative. You have to leave the fear of reaction with that person and whatever the hell they're going through. Because if they're not ready to be on your level, then they're going to show it to you as soon as the truth hits. Life isn't easy. It's never going to be. It'll not get easier. It's literally life. It doesn't end until you die, and that's what we were put here to do. So you better do it right the first time, or you're going to have regrets. Avoiding conflict does not make you peaceful. You're not like Gandhi just because you didn't fucking have a conversation with somebody. You're Gandhi if you didn't hit them, but you're still supposed to have those conversations. It's what makes you disconnect from yourself. And if you want to be, if you are happy, completely disconnected from your authentic self, live your life. Be happy, be at peace. But if you're not, do what you need to do to make the changes that you need to make. Take responsibility for your shit, dog. It's not fair of yourself to avoid conflict with yourself or others just because you think it's not your place or you don't think it's going to bring anybody peace. Peace will be found through the truth. Doesn't matter how rough it was to get there. You're not meant to carry everybody. And walking away can be one of the most loving things that you ever do. So never forget that you are meant to live fully, and you are allowed to. Okay, well, that was all for that one, guys. I hope that we all enjoyed very much. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for listening. Go ahead and share this with somebody that you think might need to hear it. Take care of yourselves. Do whatever the hell you want to do with the podcast. Share it, blah blah blah, rada rada, the whole 9 yards, whatever, I don't care. Moral of the story is I love you guys and I hope you have a great rest of your night.